Well, hello, everybody.
You want to set up the slides here?
Yeah, let's set slides. So I'm just looking at myself. I look like a unicorn, which my daughter will be happy, I guess. So I guess I'll wear it. So I'm John Frattarelli, and I'm here with Dr. Anatte Karmon, Dr. Emily Goulet. Today is our podcast or our Facebook Live session for our 10th anniversary of building the lab here in Hawaii. So we're going to talk about what's happened over the last 10 years, talk about some novel fertility things that have happened and what's happened specifically in Hawaii and at FIH, and hopefully show you guys a lot of memory. For those of you who are tuning in, please feel free to comment and send questions if you have them. We definitely want this to be as interactive as possible. So this really kind of started in 2010 when I found the place here at Halepawa'a. And it was a brand new building. So I came in and we were able to kind of grab a floor and have it bare and design the lab that I had always kind of wanted. And we built the lab here, and with the premise or with the idea of having a lab that would be similar to the successful labs that were on the mainland. And the premise with that is that everything's in one center. You come in for fertility ultrasound, for consultation. You're getting your egg retrieval performed here, your IUI here, the andrology, freezing sperm, doing the semen analysis, blood work. Everything is done within one setting. You don't have to go to multiple settings. And so that's the way we set it up, and we've been successful at that. I think, and really the only lab or the only facility here in Hawaii that does that. We actually moved into the building in February 2011, and ultimately had our first egg retrieval in March, and then had our first baby about 9 months later, or about 7, I guess, in December. In March. With setting up the lab, the other thing that I wanted to do was make sure that we were doing what everyone else was doing on the mainland. And that we weren't, kind of floating out here in the middle of the Pacific and not staying on track with the rest of the country and what everyone else is doing. So we automatically started taking everyone to day 5, doing blastocyst transfers. We started doing a lot of freezing with blastocyst transfers. We automatically did vitrification on everybody. In the past, people have been doing slow freeze for embryos and eggs, which was not as successful. So we have never done slow freeze in our lab here. I'm happy to say we've always done vitrification. And so we really tried to make sure that we were just as updated as possible with everything that we were doing. We also started a study, and we joined a study immediately called the Pursue Study, which helped patients get IVF cycles if they weren't insured or didn't have the opportunity to do a cycle. And the Pursue Study was a phase 3 trial. It was a randomized double-blind study that evaluated this. It was a single injection that you take. So those of you who've done IVF, you come in for your first day of injections, and you take one injection, and you don't take another injection for 6 days. That's so it was a single injection. It was a slow release medication, as opposed to how it's done now, how it's typically done, where you're taking a shot every day or sometimes multiple shots a day. Unfortunately, the study was successful. The drug is very successful, and it's used around the world. But the FDA, after finishing the study, said they wanted one more study in order to approve it here in the United States. And the company, after spending millions of dollars, said, "Yeah, we don't need it. Well, we're successful internationally, so we're not going to bring it to the United States." So unfortunately, that drug is not available here, but it was very fascinating, and it was a great study that we were a part of.
I'm going to interrupt here because some of our patients have some comments.
Oh, yes.
So one of our patients mentioned that she didn't realize that the center was new when she joined in 2012, which I was, just yesterday.
Right. Well, and it was 2012. 2012. It was a year old at that point, right? But yeah, it's still new, right? I mean, 10 years has passed. It's gone by so fast. It's hard to believe. But yeah, in early 2012, we did our first egg donor cycle here, and really, I think that 2012 really set us up for what we've done the rest of the time, and it's because I was lucky enough, and literally lucky enough, to be in the right spot at the right time on a hay bale ride in I forget where I was, like Tahoe, I think, at a conference. And the person sitting next to me was a good friend of mine who was at Shady Grove Fertility in Maryland, and mentioned to me that they were looking at founding this donor egg bank. And we started talking about it, and we were lucky enough to be one of the 11 founding partners for the donor egg bank. And the reason that really has changed what we've done is because the groups that are a part of this egg bank are really, the who's who in IVF and IVF centers. And so one of the things that's really helped, and I've been very adamant about, is our lab being very active with Donor Egg Bank USA, because it allows our embryologists to gain skills that they probably would not have gained if we were not part of Donor Egg Bank USA. It allows them to really flourish and be successful, and us be successful, if we weren't part of them. So I think that has really changed what we were able to do, and luckily and happily, we're still part of Donor Egg Bank USA, and very proud of that. We also did the first egg vitrification in Hawaii. Before this, slow freeze was done. Slow freeze eggs, they don't survive very well. They don't do very well. Vitrification, if you vitrify something, you are freezing it super, super fast, and it doesn't turn, you'll get no ice crystal formation. You preserve the fidelity of that gamete, whether it's an egg or an embryo, and without damaging it. And so you preserve the reproductive competence of that either egg or embryo.
We do have some patients who have chimed in saying that they were also with you in 2012, and that they had babies with your help, and then subsequent.
Certainly, yeah.
And so I guess even though you were brand new and you opened this brand new clinic, you still had at least one successful patient.
Yes,
so
yes.
That's good.
Yeah. And
I'm happy to hear that.
I recognize all these names. It's so good to see you guys and hear from you guys.
Some people from Alaska too. Wow, around the world.
Everywhere. And we did around that time, around 2013, probably start seeing more international patients and patients that weren't here in Hawaii. We started seeing a lot of Japanese patients and patients from Korea, from different agencies, and so that has really kind of built our program as well. The embryoscope, I don't know if a lot of you may have heard about the embryoscope. We were one of the first 20 centers maybe in the country to get the embryoscope, which is really a time-lapse incubator. So normally you put the embryos in the incubator, you leave them there for however many days before you look at them again. With this, it would take a photo of the embryo every 20 minutes. And so you could log on. I could log on my phone or on my computer and check and see how embryos were doing. And at the end, maybe even have a video of how that embryo grew over the course of the 5 or 6 days that it was in the incubator. We thought that this was really going to revolutionize how we were doing things. If we could see things more, we would be able to figure out which embryos were chromosomally normal, which embryos were going to make a baby. The reality is, when you look at the embryo all the time with an embryoscope, or you just put it in the incubator and don't look at it again for 5 days, the end product, both looking the same. There's no different. There's nothing you can look at with the embryoscope that helps you. So for that reason, it's not something. It's not a technology that has really flourished, at least at this point. It was also around this time that we had our first pregnancy and baby that was born from vitrified donor eggs in Hawaii. And then we started getting pretty busy here. Obviously, I was by myself, and my embryologist, in fact, when I first hired her, I brought her from Oklahoma, Amber Brewer, and her, she would, we were probably going to do 50, 80 cycles a year. And so she was just going to be by herself. And we did 80 cycles in the first year. And then the second year we did almost 200 cycles. And she said, oh, we need more people. So we brought in more other embryologists at that time, but also I needed more people. So, I had been wooing Dr. Karmon for, since like 2013, I guess she jumped, and when she started fellowship at Harvard. And over the course of about 3 years, we developed this relationship that, trying to get her to come here, and she said, yes, she wanted to come here. And finally, when she finished her fellowship in 2015, luckily Dr. Karmon, did come. She kept telling me she was going to.
Yeah, so that was also, I can't believe that it's been, 5 years, over 5 years now that I joined. But when I first came here, I came here kind of just as a tourist to check out the practice, and Dr. Frattarelli was nice enough to let me actually stay with him at his house. And so I felt like, I don't know if I ever told you this, but my whole vacation was like just a 2-week interview. It's just like every day I was like, gosh, they're making breakfast. I don't know if they're going to judge me if I eat too much or if I don't eat enough, or, I don't know. I was so anxious and nervous because I really, really wanted to join the Fertility Institute of Hawaii. And so after I stayed the 2 weeks, I guess I didn't do anything like really weird or wrong, because then he did offer me the position here, which I've been so grateful for. So thank you so much. I've been able to come out here and live my dream in paradise. I see that there are some patients
people, yes,
that are writing in, and people that
guys,
I recognize
yes,
as well. So, thank you, everyone. It's just so wonderful. And of course, we had our 5-year celebration in 2016, which I remember. And I remember thinking how exciting it would be, how exciting it was at that time that I joined such a wonderful practice, but also I was thinking, like, what's it going to be like, in 5 years, in 2020, when, 2021, when we have our 10-year celebration. And, here it is now. It's a little bit different than I anticipated or expected, because we're not having any fancy parties, and we're just here in my office, but it's in other ways has been more wonderful than I could have ever imagined, and I can't believe how many patients I've been able to help and work with. It's just so incredible.
And so it has been just a wonderful time having Dr. Karmon here for the last now 6 years. A couple other things that happened right in the time that Dr. Karmon joined. We were part of the STAR study, which is really a very well-known study across the world with IVF and PGT, pre-implantation genetic technology. And so patients that were doing IVF were able to get genetic testing on their embryos for free as part of the study. When we look at participating in studies, we're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for it to be good science, and something that's going to tell us something. And we also are looking for studies that are not going to provide any harm to a patient. We don't want there to be any downside for the patient. And so in this study, the patients were randomized to either getting genetic testing or not, at no cost. And so obviously the downside was that they didn't get randomized, they didn't get the genetic testing for that first transfer, but they weren't going to have it anyway, because they were just undergoing IVF and weren't going to do PGT anyway. So it really didn't harm them. But it did help them, because all of their other embryos that they didn't transfer were tested. So everybody had embryos that were tested. Some had embryos that we put in were tested, but everyone had embryos that all of the embryos that we froze that were not transferred were tested. So if the patient didn't get pregnant, they were able to use tested embryos later on. And we've had about 80 babies from the STAR study over the last 5 years. So that's been fabulous. There's another study, a megaset study that we were part of.
We had some patients who were writing in who were part of the STAR study,
great.
and are very thankful.
Wow,
as
yes.
well. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it was, and it really is one of the most talked about studies in our field. So we're very, very happy to be part of it. And we actually were we were second as far as there's a multi-center trial. There were 30 something centers in it. We had the second most people enrolled in the study. So we're very proud of that and very happy that we have so many babies born from it. We also did the Megaset study, which is again just comparing two different medications and offering free cycles to patients, and that was very successful as well. And then there was a time that Dr. Karmon, while she was here, kept talking about this device called the InvoCell, and I kept thinking, how are we going to use this? I'm not sure we want to use it, and she was very persistent, and I'm glad I listened to her because she actually, it actually is something we use and something that Dr. Karmon, because she was the one who really wanted it to be here and researched it. I'll let her kind of use it.
Well, I just wanted the free trip to Texas that I got to do the training. It was like a hotel next to the airport. I think it was nice.
Yeah, only the best accommodations for you.
Yeah, so the InvoCell was something that I was interested in when I heard about it, because it does offer in vitro fertilization at a slightly lower cost for those people who are paying out of pocket for it, and the success rates are promising, and in some cases, depending on the patients that are utilizing it, can be just as good as a traditional IVF cycle. It also is a great technology for people who are interested perhaps in a natural approach, or some people who are interested from either a religious or ethical perspective would like fertilization to occur inside the body. This is a good approach for them. For some people who are, for example, female same-sex couples, this is a way to potentially involve both partners without doing co-IVF. One partner can provide the eggs, the other partner can incubate them in this device. So there are various ways that we can utilize the InvoCell to meet the needs of patients who may be wanting something different than a traditional IVF cycle.
A patient just signed in saying that she used InvoCell. Yes.
So.
And then there was the other option that I think that was actually newsworthy, kind of a year ago or two, maybe a year and a half ago, was maybe you mentioned this, maybe I wasn't listening. I'm sorry. Same-sex couples.
I just mentioned
you did
that.
Did you? Oh, you didn't mention it was it was in the news or?
It was in the news.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
It was in the news, not from our center though, but another center which.
Right, it wasn't us.
That. Yeah.
And then let's see, we'll move the slide forward. Oops, sorry. Or I'll erase the presentation, one or the other. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh, here. I can just click like.
Yeah, just push the button.
There we go. Okay.
And so these are photos from our birthday party 5 years ago at the Alani. And like Dr. Karmon said, that was really such a great celebration. And we've been looking so forward to having another one. And then COVID hit. And so we obviously are very happy that everyone is safe right now, but we're also very, very sad that we can't do another large gathering and see all the families and babies, because we certainly miss that. Yeah. And I will also say that Dr. Karmon's told me this many times when she was at the birthday party, because she had just gotten there, so there were very few babies that she had. Everyone, all the babies weren't in. I was getting pictures with all the families and all the babies, and she was kind of standing there. In
my red
maybe in 5 years,
t-shirt.
maybe in 5 years, I can take some photos, and then COVID happened, and she can't take photos.
Yeah, so sad. Oh well.
But we do miss you guys.
Yeah.
And so, another study that's going to be fairly talked about, that we just finished or we're just finishing, is a randomized double-blind multi-center trial looking at IVF with a different type of gonadotropin, which is an FSH product that we have to use to get the stimulation part of the IVF cycle. And so that's a new drug that's going to be coming to market probably in a couple of years, and we just finished participating in that. And that was, again, allowing patients to do a free IVF cycle. We also, as Dr. Karmon just mentioned, the InvCell was introduced around this time, and had the first InvCell pregnancy in Hawaii, and we've had several. And I guess I'll comment on the InvCell a little bit, in that my experience with the InvCell, I think when you look at all the studies, the embryo quality is not worse with cell versus the lab. And the lab is optimized. What I always tell my patients, the lab is optimized for human embryo development. But the reality is, not everybody's the same. And so there's some people are going to be outliers on one side or the other. And so those patients, certainly, you probably will get a better embryo quality if you do an InvCell. And we certainly have seen that we've had some patients where the InvCell has given us same quality as we would see in the lab. And other times where we've been really surprised at the embryos that we got. They were so much better than we expected.
We also have patients writing in regard that they were part of the RITA study as well.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool.
Yes, thank you guys. Thank you all. It's been very successful. I guess the RITA study, we just looked at our last numbers. We've had about 40 babies from the RITA study so far. And certainly a few more out there. And we have embryos that are still frozen as well. And then 2020 hit. So 2019, 2020, COVID changed everything. We started doing a lot of telemedicine. The Zymot's on there because that's one of the technologies that we kind of, around 2019, 2020, we introduced into our lab. And that allows us to select better sperm for the IVF cycle in order to put better sperm into the uterus, or into, well, you can do it for the IUI, but typically we're using it for IVF to put it into the egg. And really, there's not really a lot that we can do for the sperm other than either put it with the egg and let it fertilize, or put it inside the egg by doing ICSI. And so what the Zymot does is it really has revolutionized things a little bit in that it allows us to select, it pre-selects good sperm for us to then select to put into the egg when we do ICSI. And along this time too, we started talking to Dr. Goulet in 2020 and coaxed her into joining. So we've been very happy that she's been here now for a little over 3 months, going on 4 months now. And I'll let Dr. Goulet introduce herself.
Yes, that's the best thing about 2020. There's always a silver lining, and things happen because of COVID-19 that none of us were expecting. But I think the telemedicine, which you had mentioned earlier, I know a lot of people have just loved, and we've embraced it too. It allows a lot of us to spend time with our patients, especially if you live on outer islands. You don't have to take an entire day off of work. And if you live on Oahu, still taking time off for a doctor's appointment can mean a half day or a full day off, but now you don't even have to leave the office. You can just turn on your phone. And I know a lot of people have really embraced the telemedicine. And so I hope that's here to stay, even when COVID-19 goes away. But I think one of the other silver linings of COVID-19 is it helped me transition to here. And this has been the best part of all of 2020. And I'm looking forward to the 15-year anniversary where I can say I've got all the patients, just like Dr. Karmon and Dr. Frattarelli, to take pictures with, because I see lots of exciting new things happening with this practice. And they've always, Fertility Institute of Hawaii has always been very progressive, very cutting edge, wanting to embrace the best technology that we can have access to here in the Pacific, so that everybody here in the Pacific can benefit from the technology that's being developed worldwide. And being centered here in the Pacific, we do have access to all of the best studies that are happening worldwide, and people are traveling in from all over the world, Japan and Korea and Australia, because our success here are so good.
Yeah, so I think you're definitely one of the best things about 2020. So yeah, 2020 you had on the timeline there, Dr. Goulet, what did you have there?
Zymot,
COVID, right? Telemedicine.
Yeah.
So Yeah, my biggest issue with the Zymont is that the 2 dots on the O, doesn't that mean it's Zymote?
That's his
Right,
Zymote.
yeah.
I
I think it's
Zymote.
Zymote, right? It's
I'm
because
from
it's the
Tennessee.
dots
yeah,
on
should
there.
be Zymote. Yes, Zymote.
Okay, I
Thank
don't
you.
know.
Thank you for
I'm
that.
just helping. I'm just
Thank you for that
helping.
publicly
That's what I.
repeating me. Thank you.
That's what I'm
Appreciate
here for.
it.
You're welcome.
my daily life. Yes. Thank you.
Well, yeah. So.
But yeah, we see so many people weighing in. Thank you so much, and recognize all of these names. It's so nice to see everybody, and some people with babies that are now not babies, that are 8, 9, 10 years old. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
It really is amazing. So we're so thankful.
Do we have any other pictures
I think
to
we
go
have.
through here? Oh,
Yes.
some cute things here. Let's see. Thanks so much. It's like we can't even keep up with all the patients that are kind of
I know.
writing in here.
It's
So
I was
comments.
concerned that we wouldn't have anybody watching today, and it's amazing
Oh,
what we have.
one baby day.
Yeah.
At least.
So about 5 years ago, we reached the point where we were having about 350 babies or more born a day, not a day, in a year in Hawaii. And so, we are now kind of almost approaching 2 babies a day in Hawaii. But we're very proud of the fact that we're helping to build families. I think that those of you who have been on our Facebook page and our website, you kind of know that the 3 of us all have fertility stories as well. And so, this really warms our heart to be able to help other patients and other people have the family that they desire and that they deserve. And it really is. I think that I am so happy to come to work every day. I love this. I mean, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't working. I think that one of the things is if you enjoy what you do, then you'll never work a day in your life. And that's really true. I really feel like that. And so it's such a good feeling when we see these comments, and we see you guys, and we know that all the families that we've helped. Not everybody gets pregnant, and we realize that too, and that's very sad for us. But ultimately, we do really appreciate all the support that we get from everyone.
And I also think that it's these kind of moments and sort of these Facebook Live sessions that where we see all your comments that really do recharge us too. Because again, you guys are the reason that we do this, and so it's so wonderful and nice for us to see this and to continue to work with you guys too. So yeah, and also for our staff. I mean, not just us. You're not right now. You don't see all the staff who are watching right now and who are in our office helping us put everything together. But we absolutely couldn't. Of course, we couldn't do it without them. And some of them have been here longer than me for sure. So some of them are irreplaceable.
They're all irreplaceable. We have great staff, such tremendous staff.
Right. Yeah, so many names I recognize too, from Austin, from everywhere, Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins, yes. So speaking of the Dolphins, if you're using a football analogy, we have our slideshow of our photos. We'll talk about some of these, but that's our picture of our staff at our 5-year birthday party, and these staff pictures that you're seeing is our embryologist and our embryologist over in the corner there. They're just amazing. These are photos when we were during COVID. We sat down for an afternoon and did yoga. Dr. Karmon did a yoga session virtually from her office. was trying to say is that, for a football analogy, really, we're the quarterbacks, right? But we got a great team behind us, and without that great team, you guys wouldn't have babies. You wouldn't have the families you have. So it's not really, we can be as good as we can be, but it's really the team. It really is team. And then specifically, if you had to pick out like one group that's the most important part, okay, it would be our embryology team. It would be our lab team, and they're more important than we are. I mean, again, our embryology team is so, you don't know who they are either, but they are so good. You could put almost, any 3 doctors that do IVF in the country, and sitting in these chairs, and they would have, fairly similar success rates because our embryology team is just so good. The donor egg bank, I mentioned the donor egg bank, USA. One of the reasons we joined that was for the embryology, so that we would continue to get that technology and learn. Our embryologists year after year are winning awards there. For the best egg freezing, best egg thaw pregnancy rates. Last year we had the top 3. I'll count Amber Brewer, who was my first embryologist, who was here for 5-6 years with us, and then moved back to the mainland. She actually was number 1 in the donor egg bank, even though she's not with us. I still count her. And then Yvonne and Jamie, our 2 senior embryologists, were second and third. And so very proud of the work that they do, and they really work long hours. They're here every weekend. We're not here. We try not to be here on weekends if we don't have to be, unless we're doing an egg retrieval or a procedure. The embryologists are here in the lab every weekend because there's something they have to do. They have to biopsy an embryo. They have to freeze an embryo. They check on embryos. So they really are here 365 days a year. We try to give them the weeks of Christmas off a little bit because we try to clean the lab a little bit. But that's really the only time that someone's not coming in. Someone comes in on Thanksgiving to freeze and to check on embryos. So it's really it's a thankless job sometimes because they're not seeing how you get the praise. They're not seeing the thank yous.
So how did you hire such good embryologists? I always was wondering that.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, Donor Egg Bank USA asked me to give a talk on that in a couple of months.
Really? On how to hire a good embryologist?
At our scientific meeting, they asked me to give me a talk because they want to know our secret. But really, the secret is luck. I don't know. I don't know how we got them. I'm just very thankful. But they are very, very good.
Yeah.
And they're some of the best embryologists in the country, and every lab would tell you that. So we're very lucky. I don't know. I mean, how they get you two? I don't know. I'm just lucky. I'm blessed.
He's just lucky.
Why am I doing the best job in the world? This is not a job. This is a hobby. I love this. So how lucky can you be?
I tell everyone, listen, I trained at Harvard. Everybody knows, right?
Over and over again.
I went to a little place called Harvard, right? And I did my fellowship there. And so I came here and I thought, I was coming from sort of a big city and I was going to come here to this little town and really just paint the town with my strokes. And I was going to teach John how to get things done here. But no, I was definitely schooled by Dr. Frattarelli, by the embryologists here, who were just, incredible and really incredible mentors to me initially when I first started. And it's just amazing, but really the level of care that's provided here, I think it's incredible.
I think we certainly try to provide customer service. I mean, and that's one of the things we talk about. We want our staff to realize that we're not just a normal medical clinic that where you're getting your blood pressure checked and and checking some blood work and coming back in a year. We see patients a lot, and we see them for their journey. We see them at a very intimate moments and moments that are very sometimes happy, sometimes sad, but critical to their life. And this is we have to be more of a concierge service and more of a customer service than a medical service oftentimes.
We also have staff commenting here. We have Trisha. Trisha has been here for 8 years now. So she's also here longer than me. Incredible. Thanks, Trisha.
Yeah, we have several staff who have been here in that 8-9 year mark. So it's amazing that that we've been able to have them here for that long. We obviously have several staff that have kind of come and gone too, maybe moved to the mainland, for various reasons, family reasons, other reasons. But they're all still part of our family, and we still contact them and talk to them a lot. And likewise, our patients, they have their email address of their IVF coordinator. If your IVF coordinator is gone, that email address actually still gets forwarded to, is still active, and it gets forwarded to one of the other IVF coordinators, so we still get it, even if your IVF coordinator is gone. But thank you guys so much. It's been wonderful. Oh, I guess we have a cake. Yeah, you guys can partake in our cake. It's chocolate, which is good. I'm a big fan of chocolate. And it has lots of stars on it. My daughter would be happy. Are you getting burned, Jolene? She's sad.
There we go. All right.
Shall we?
Are we gonna turn this? No. We have it planned.
Put this cake in here.
I don't want the cake to fall over.
Okay. I think you have to hang it on.
So there's our cake.
Here we go.
Lots of stars on it.
The FIH. Nice.
The zero's gonna fall down.
All right.
Can you take a picture?
Yeah, pictures too, and then we've got maybe you can make the first cut, and
Oh,
then
and Jolene wants you.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, we're taking pictures live. Sorry. Oh, we have to look at the camera. We can't look at our Facebook Live session. Thank you.
All right.
The zero's falling down. All right. We're not going to blow them out because of COVID. We'll wave.
Go like this.
There we go. Thank you guys. We can't wait till year 15. And we have a real party. And I don't know how we'll do that because there's so many people. I don't know where we'll
Should
go.
make the first cut
but maybe we'll have to rent an island or something to have all the people come. So our first piece. There we go. But thank you guys so much. Thanks so much for participating.
Thank
Thanks
you
for the
guys.
memories.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for
for
the
the
memories.
memories. Yeah.
Yes.
But we're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're not retiring quite yet.
I'm not
so,
retired.
Yeah.
So we'll see you and we'll see you at our next Facebook Live session.
Yeah.
Again, we have these Facebook Live sessions once a month. If anyone's interested, it's usually some kind of infertility topic that we think is interesting. COVID in pregnancy, or just male infertility, or how to get pregnant with ovulation induction, or what other options are out there. So we will be having these Facebook Live sessions once a month. Please join us.
Hey guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you.